Are they thankful for my service as a woman when they see my dog tags and ask me about my non-existent husband? Is that how they thank me for my service? Are your friends? It's about the fear and hatred that he's been raised in, and his anger had no purpose.
Unfortunately, the reason I ended up in the homeless shelter and I ended up getting treatment at the VA was because I was one of those 22 that attempted. Thank God I wasn't successful, but it was one of those things where it's like, why would I, after serving my country, what is it about this that is so wrong? For me personally, I, was sexually assaulted. I was raped in college. I dropped out of college, joined the military, was sexually assaulted in the military. I married an abusive alcoholic who had PTSD, who was in the military as well. Survived 17 years of an abusive marriage, became homeless for a short time. And all of that, I didn't stop. I didn't give up. An honorary welcome to Charlie Mike Theater Company. One of the traditions that I want to bring to this theater program, to this company, is that every time we do a play, I want the actors to get a set of dog tags of their own. I want them to have that sort of as a, I'm in the fight. I've been a part of this battle with you and with this theater company. Oh yeah, Buster has his own dog tags. He's the duffel bag. When I get to do theater with people who have served, that connection for me is what's important, and that's the fight, is that we need to connect to each other and we need to connect to the community at large. Today's rehearsal is a dress rehearsal, which means they're in costume. We're adding our tech for the first time, so bear with us.
It's good at the football that I got a scholarship from Northwestern.
I think it was probably about the last year I was in, 2012, 2013. Started going to all my appointments and stuff, but just things were starting to trigger. I mean, the depression, the heavy drinking, just the fights with my now ex-wife. Nothing physical, was just always want to know what was wrong. I could just never tell her about it. I just get angry and wind up leaving the house and come back a couple hours later. I think it was about then, just you start doing the psyche evals and stuff like that, and then they finally tell you, hey, yeah, by the way, you do have PTSD. Oh yeah, by the way, you do have a traumatic brain injury due to some concussions that you've got, and you will be suffering from depression, and their anxiety and everything was just kind of going down the list. I was like, yep, I got it.
Jody Lynn and I had 4 children together and stayed married for 56 years.
Sean is a stuntman and a cowboy. I mean, I say that not glibly. He actually works as a cowboy. And so he's done a lot of Western films, and he hasn't done a lot of stage.
We came home to people carrying signs, calling us murderers, baby rapists, killers, while they were spitting on us.
I think with this acting in the theater, a lot of guys, or say veterans, not just guys, gals, veterans in general, they will be able to step out of their element. And sometimes it's easier to act out your feelings than it is to talk about them.
But I want to explain the impact it had on my life.
Well, basically the story behind the play is back in 2015, I was living in a homeless shelter for military veterans. I was the only female veteran among a bunch of, I think there was like 70 guys at the time. And it was a little overwhelming, to be there. And so one of the things that has always been healing for me and a part of the healing process for me is to do theater and writing. And so I was in this writers group that they had at the shelter, and the guy that ran the writing group was a Vietnam veteran who told me the story, and he said the only person to welcome him home was this African-American man, in his words, a giant of a black man who gave him this cigar. And I thought that's so telling of that time period of, we have a soldier who's been at war, and we have an African-American man who's fighting for civil rights. The 2 wars that we're fighting during the 60s, it's so poignant. And so for those 2 men to interact in such a brief way was really amazing. And so I thought, I'm gonna write that into a play.
8 dying inside that church, 1 on the way to the hospital, in all 6 women and 3 men.
And that's when the shootings in Charlotte, South Carolina happened. And to me, it was such a, coming from a space of white privilege and not really understanding the Black experience in America, it was such an awakening for me. So that became the second half of the play, is what's happening in 2015 has been happening since the 60s, and what's happening for veterans, happening still today. What's happening for people of color still happening today, and so it just felt like the right right message to send with the play. So,
Welcome home, brother. We've been waiting on you.
Come on in. That's a Vip. Hey, Vip.
I don't think I ever told this story before.
I had a really hard time adjusting outside of the military to not having a chain of command, not having somebody say, this is what you do, this is when you do it, and this is how it needs to be done and when it needs to be done. Theater is very much a discipline in the same way, that you have a director, you have a producer, you have people above that, you have technicians, you have all of these people that are working cohesively together, and everybody knows their job, and everybody stays in their lane and does their job, and if everybody does their job correctly, you produce this really great thing.
I just want to forget the whole damn thing.
I think it's the sense of belonging to something again. Because that's what, a lot of these veterans talk about. You go through, you're part of a team, you work together, there's such cohesion, and then when you get out, you're like, crud, what do I do? Where are my brothers at now? Where's my battle buddy? And then now with stuff like this, it brings vets back together where it makes them feel like they're part of something again.
We're so used to having a mission to complete, and when that's taken away from us, it becomes really depressing. For me, I believe that's one of the reasons that we have such a high suicide rate, not just with the military, but also with first responders, because we lose that sense of purpose and mission. And so theater is not, if you come and you participate and you have, this idea that I'm doing something for the community, it gives you that purpose back. And it connects you to the community because, I can sit here and tell you stories about my service as an EMT. I can tell you stories about, why I have PTSD. It's not going to mean as much to you as it does if you're seeing it on the stage.
People are listening, and this is one way that people listen. One of the first times we did the play, I had a guy come up out of the crowd, and he goes, I want to say I'm sorry. I was like, for what, sir? He goes, I was one of those protesters. He goes, now I feel horrible, and I am truly sorry. I was like, I appreciate that, sir. I said, it means a lot to me, but you need to go find one of these guys who's Vietnam veterans. And walk up to him and shake his hand and say, I'm sorry. I think just getting that word out there and getting people to come out of their element and to try something new.
Oh, man.
It's not for everybody, but, never hurts to try something once.
Thank you for supporting us and coming out.